In today's Daily Health, we're talking about what happens to our brains as we age.
Yeah, it's a topic that's been drawing a lot of attention following special counsel Robert Hur's report describing President Joe Biden as a, quote, elderly man with a poor memory. Biden and his allies have dismissed the criticism.
But all of it got us thinking about what does happen to our memory, to our brains as we age. So joining us now, Dr. Romie Mushtaq. She's a neurologist and author of The Busy Brain Cure. Dr. Romie, it's great to have you here.
Thank you both.
Let's really get into it. What does happen to our brain and to our memory? Because I think everybody notices, I notice that as I get older, it's harder to remember things.
Well, first of all, we're having the wrong conversation. These changes with our brain happens even as we're in our 20s. So as a neurologist, I want to tell you, we all have word finding difficulty, or we forget a colleague's name when we see him on a street. That's a retrieval issue. But any time as adults, we stop having issues, when we start having issues with our memory or cognitive decline, that is not normal. And that's what we're here to discuss today.
I mean, you talked about it can happen as early as your 20s, so you made me perk up for a minute. I was like, oh, I didn't know. What are some early signs of memory loss, dementia?
When we're talking about mild cognitive impairment or dementia, you have difficulty finding the right words consistently. You can't do familiar tasks like put your keys into the ignition or find the right credit card in the store, or you're struggling what time and place you're in routinely.
So those are the signs. What other factors besides dementia can contribute to memory problems?
It's really important when memory problems that we look at history of head injury, other diseases that may be going on in the brain, such as Parkinson's, having a stroke that can happen almost at any age, a brain tumor, and thyroid irregularities, as well as we check for labs, nutrient deficiencies. Someone has been having alcohol, they can have low vitamin B12 and folate levels, all that can lead to memory impairment.
So how does stress impact our performance, our memory? Because that obviously has an effect.
I've been researching this for years in the workplace in the Busy Brain Cure. When you're under chronic stress, it leads to the same inflammation in the brain as all of these studies do. The key there is that when we're under high stress, we're sleep deprived and often more likely to use alcohol or other medications to calm ourselves down that can make memory worse.
So all those things not good. Everything you just said is something that happens to me. What do we do then? Let's flip it. What do we do to keep our brain at its optimal functioning?
That is the key, that there is always hope. And we know that no matter how old you are today watching this, 3 key things you can do is social connections, being in person with people. Number 2, learning a new skill, such as crossword puzzles or learning a new language, but not on an app, but actually in person. And the last but not least, I want to emphasize again, we saw this in the Busy Brain Cure, the importance of regular quality sleep.
So you just listed a lot of helpful tools, doing some of those mind games. I've heard you mention sleep a couple of times. Sounds like keep stress low as well. But there's also a lot of marketing for vitamins and the like. Are those effective? What should people know when they're considering their options?
You know, I think you really need an examination from a doctor first, looking at your memory and checking labs. And when we look at supplements, before you just go run to the market and buy the latest trend you see on Instagram, instead get a vitamin D, as in dog 3 level checked, and vitamin B levels and a full thyroid panel before you do any, and have a practitioner who knows how to use these supplements, provide the right one.
Wow, so thorough, so helpful. Dr. Romie, thank you so much.
Thank you both.
Thank you. There's much more news ahead.
So don't go anywhere. You're watching NBC News Daily.